Hello, and welcome to the Comic Conspiracy episode number 51 for the week of April 2nd, 2012. My name's Brock Sager. I'm here to... Wait. April Fools. I'm sorry. I'm not Brock Sager. I'm Ryan Higgins. And we're here to talk about my World of Warcraft.
It would have been a better April Fools if I started the podcast.
My World of Warcraft, Mists of Pandaria. I got to play that for a few hours this morning, playing some Panda, walking around. Oh, wait, this is the Comic Conspiracy, not the Geekbox April Fools again. I'm sorry. But I did want to say this is our last episode number 51.
How does he think he's funny?
This is our last episode ever. Oh, April Fools, a third time. Oh, now this is me hating April Fools and everything about it. I hate April Fools. It's stupid. Everything I just said was stupid. Every April Fools is stupid. Done. My name's Ryan Higgins. No more April Fools. I'm joined by
Brock Sager.
And I'm also joined by
Uma Broderick.
No Charlie, no Toby this week. They're still up at, well, they're actually probably on the airplane getting ready to come back from Emerald City Comic-Con. We'll have a nice big post-Comic-Con report from them next week, as well as hopefully some cool extras. Toby brought his filming equipment up there and audio equipment, so hopefully he got something. If not, he's fired.
Fired.
Yeah.
Why would you fire him? You don't even pay him to do that.
That is true.
You can't fire him for doing that.
Oh, I can fire him. I fire him from the podcast. And way in the back of the store, Marshall, say hello. Yeah, you're way in the back of the thing. One of our guys, Marshall's here. He hates all podcasts and everything involving podcasts. He hates it when you come on Thursdays when he's working and asks for myself or Ryan Scott and then gives him candy to give to us. He really hates that the most. So if you ever see a bearded man sitting behind the counter who's angry at you, it's probably because you listen to the podcast and you're bothering him. So
if he's not a ginger,
I'm not a ginger.
I'm a ginger.
Yeah.
You just said a bearded man.
I guess Toby and Charlie and me, none of us have facial hair, huh?
I know. You're against facial hair.
I am totally against facial hair.
You're like anti-facial hair.
Yeah.
Why?
He likes it clean. It's like airstrip.
Well, this is like right now I'm like 2 days unshaven, and this is as far as I get.
Yeah, because that's like club and beta playing, right?
This is as far as I get. So
yeah, you're supposed to keep it one way or the other, I hear, because otherwise it's uncomfortable for the woman.
You hear that? That's as far as it goes. Nothing past that. So
hold on, let me check out mine. Yeah,
yours is like.
Oh yeah, that's scruffy.
Yeah. All right, let's talk some comic books here.
Comic books?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm be curious to see what Toby and Charlie have to say about the Emerald City Comic Con, because I didn't hear a lot of news out of it this weekend.
I think it was like it sounded from what I saw online. It was a lot of, they had the panels like they had at WonderCon where DC's like just talking about stuff, not really answering anything. No
announcements.
No real big announcements.
I know Toby said he went to a panel where they were doing like paper folding penises or something like that. Like I'm not like origami penises. I don't know the whole story. So
why would you do an origami penis?
You'll have to tell us all about it.
That's the only thing you can do with it is paper cut vagina or ass.
That's disgusting. But yeah,
I am not saying anything about all this.
I have no idea. You're
just ignore Brock. We all do. So kind of quiet news week. We'll do some emails here. I know we wanted to do. Brock wanted to talk some Hunger Games. We didn't get to talk about it last week because we ran a little long. So I guess Brock, let's
Games.
Let's hear about it. Now, I make fun of Hunger Games and all that, but I mean, it made more money than God, and people seem to really like it. So go ahead, Brock. Tell us about Hunger Games. Not comic book related, although I guarantee you someone will do a Hunger Game comic in the next 12 months.
Yeah, probably. No, really, I mean, for those of you who want to go see an entertaining movie, I would highly suggest it. I mean, of all ages. Well, I mean, I wouldn't take a small child to this, but, this does appeal to a wide audience, both young and old. So I took my girlfriend. She really liked it. The only problems both of us had was the camera. Like, it was shot with a really choppy, like, handheld camera, which allowed for them to kind of, like, cut out the violence, in a sense, because this is really a violent and bloody book. So they were able to do that, but they did have some kid's neck get snapped, which was awesome. Just done.
I do love the death of children, so.
If you like a lot of neck snapping, go watch the Raid Redemption. There's probably around like 30 to 50 neck snaps, and it's all Asian people. So for all you white people out there, you won't feel like something bad's going to happen to you. The same way I feel whenever I watch all the horror movies within the U.S. and it's all white people that die. So fight the power.
So what is The Hunger Games about, Brock? For those that never read the book or saw the movie, you read the book, the first book.
I read
right?
the first book.
Okay.
I haven't read the other ones because I picked up the softcover trade of number 1, and they haven't released a softcover for volume 2 or 3 yet. So I don't know if they're going to, if they overprinted on hardcovers and they're just trying to get rid of them.
More money.
Yeah, more money. But I mean, a lot of people complain that it's like, oh, it's just another, what is it, dystopian
future.
Yeah, where it's, all this bad stuff has happened, and now we're kind of trying to recover, but we're recovering in an extreme way. And the extreme way here is that to kind of quell revolting and quell people standing up to the man, so to speak, they have the Hunger Games where 2 tributes from each district, and there's 12 districts, 1 male, 1 female tribute, go to basically fight it out in... It's an arena, but it's more of a location.
It's like the whole island or something, right?
It's like a whole area.
Right.
So I never really got the depiction that it was an island. It was just this big kind of area.
Oh, okay. I thought it was an island for some reason. Maybe I misunderstood.
I don't know. They dive into a little bit more showing behind the scenes of what's going on. I don't know if that stuff's in the later books. There is some stuff they added which worked perfectly fine, in my opinion, for the flow of the film. But yeah, I think the only problems I really had was that shaky camera stuff and extreme close-ups. Like, that stuff was used way too much.
Was it kind of like Blair Witch style handheld camera, or just
at points it was?
Yeah,
and it was really like my girlfriend had difficulty like focusing when they were doing that. And I even had a couple times where I'm like, oh God, stop with the shaky camera, because I get the point of what it does, but it also takes away from a film, in my opinion, if you overuse it. So
it's so popular too, so mainstream.
Yeah, everyone's like, "Oh, you got to do shaky camera because it's so much more realistic."
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's artsy.
No, you want realistic? Punch the camera in the face.
Yeah, or some blood splat on the camera. I mean, you never get sick of that shit.
Yeah, I mean that blood splatter in Braveheart is awesome. In that battle sequence, you're just like, and then you're like, oh,
yeah, or even pieces of meat.
Oh God,
jump at you.
Yes, yes. All this violence makes people want to watch Game of Thrones.
Huh.
Oh, that's on tonight, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I won't watch it.
Boobies and beheadings. Here we go.
The best of both worlds, huh?
Yes, sir.
So, what's your kind of? Where do you rate this on a scale?
On a scale?
So, let's throw a 0 to 6,000 scale.
A
somewhere.
0 to 6,000 scale?
Sure.
I don't get it either.
I don't get it either. Can we just do like a 1 to 10?
You can if you want to be boring. Everyone does a 1 to 10.
Oh, everyone does 1 to... We haven't even done our scale yet. We haven't decided what our scale is.
Don't want a scale. Scales are bad. Scales. If there's anything I learned from Ryan Scott is that review scores are boring.
Okay, I have
bad
an idea.
journalism. We're not journalists.
But the Gabrielle Anwar scale works so well.
But that's funny. So that works. So 0 to 6,000, I think, is funny too.
That's funny. Also, in the theme of 1,000 cocks going into your butthole, how about doing
Christ?
How many cocks? 1 out of 5 cocks.
Well, there's the sex. Would you have sex with her system, right?
Yes.
Which is hell no.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, or I'd come inside.
Jesus Christ! No, okay, stop. Done.
I do her in the butt.
Okay.
And then the ultimate is you would pee in her butt.
Okay,
that's how hot she is. You'd pee in her butt.
Done.
Brock, you've graduated. I love you.
Done. Marshall, is this why you don't want to be on the podcast? Okay, he's nodding yes. Okay, Brock, 1 to 10 is fine. Give me. Don't. 1 to 10 is fine. 6, 7, and 8s are not allowed.
6, 7, and 8s are not allowed.
Yeah, because everyone's like, oh, it's a 7, it's an 8. Those are boring scores.
Yeah, be real.
Like, is it Is it really good, or is it just sort of is it a 5? Right. A 5 is like average. How about that?
For this film, I'm going to rate it on a couple different scales.
Oh,
okay.
God.
So for like cinematography, I'd probably give it like a 5.
Okay.
For story, I definitely have to give it a 8.
Wow.
And for overall, I think I would have to say like 7.5, 7.7. Just because, it's an entertaining film. It's good. It's definitely going to be, there's definitely going to be more The actors did a fair job, and Woody Harrelson is amazing in it. That guy's hilarious. But yeah, and just a production value of it was really done really, really well. And I thought they stuck enough to the source material.
To Battle Royale?
To Battle Royale. Everyone said, "Oh, it's Battle Royale," but even the author of Battle Royale is like, "Yeah, that's not." He's like, "This is not a concept that's he's like, they're not stealing from me." He's like, "She went with the Greek. It's not a."
Of course, Matrix isn't the Invisibles, and Harry Potter is not books of magic. Of course, we heard that story before.
Yeah.
So I've never seen Battle Royale, so I can't make a comparison.
You should. It's awesome.
Well, you gonna let me borrow it?
I actually don't own a copy right now, or maybe
a copy was released like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean it just came out on Blu-ray, so maybe I'll have to pick that up because Battle Royale is so good.
Moving on from Hunger Games, which is not a baby movie.
Yes,
it's not for babies.
I know. Well, let's talk some.
A lot of babies have that much disposable income. I want to be a baby again.
Nice. Well, let's talk some emails. We've been kind of slacking on the emails the last few weeks. So people should send us emails to the comic conspiracy at geekbox.net or through the contact form on geekbox.net. We're more than happy to read those. And, actually last time when we did that, kind of asking for questions on Twitter right before we recorded, that seemed to work out pretty well. So maybe I'll do that next week again. That was fun.
Cool. Not necessarily next week. We have that.
Sure, 2 weeks. So that was pretty fun. But got a few. I got some. You guys got some. So we'll go back and forth. Cool. I'll start here from Marco. So, hey guys, just wanted to rant a little bit after reading the DC monthly sales numbers that Ryan posted on his Twitter last week, and this was March 4th. So this would have been February. So I think this would have been the January sales numbers. Those numbers are damn near depressing to see. He's not talking about all of them because obviously the higher end DC numbers are really good. But he says, seeing great titles like I, Vampire, the Penguin miniseries, Frankenstein, Resurrection Man, and Demon Knight selling around 20,000 copies is beyond saddening. The worst thing is I can't see any of these titles continuing after the 12th issue. And those are, some of my favorite series that have come out for the New 52 books.
For sure.
The thing is, they're never going to sell crazy numbers. I think Animal Man is just a fluke and a half that book caught on. And Swamp Thing is a character that's been popular enough in a supported series before. But I, Vampire, Frankenstein, Resurrection Man, Demon Knight, none of these books are ever going to be top sellers. But I'm convinced DC is going to let these guys run their course. I don't think 20,000 is their cancellation number. I think if it gets down to 15,000, they may be in trouble, 13,000. But I think 20,000 is okay as long as they remain stable. They've let Scalped go 60 issues now at 9,000 copies. Yeah. As long as they're stable and the trades sell well, I think these books will continue, not forever, but I could see getting 24, 36 issues out of these 2 or 3 years. So, do you guys, those books specifically, and maybe some of the other lower selling books, obviously the ones that are canceled are not, they're already canceled, so who cares? But, is there anything that you guys are kind of worried about sales chart wise, maybe, or do you think this should be selling more?
I think Resurrection Man should be selling more, but I can understand why it doesn't necessarily sell better because, I like the concept of the character. This character dies and comes back to life with a different superpower. And from what I read finally after getting the trade for the stuff that came out in the 90s, it's not great material, but it's entertaining. It's a nice break from the top tier families of Superman and Green Lantern and Batman family books. It's like the Edge books that are coming out and the Dark books and all these books that we're getting kind of a different take on different characters. Those are nice. Like Demon Knights is really good. Frankenstein's really good because I've liked Frankenstein when he popped up. John's popped him in a couple issues of Action.
Yeah, with
the Commandos.
It's Creature Commandos.
Yeah. So it like I've seen these characters. And I've been interested in reading more about them, so it's nice to kind of see them getting it. Like for me, I, Vampire's not a book I want to read. I'm not a big fan of the art style, so but I can see people's disappointment in title kind of failing.
But I tell you though, and here's something that it'd be curious if DC will comment about this a little bit more, because every week I'm reordering a couple copies of I Vampire. Especially now that it's crossing over at Justice League Dark. I've sold out of almost every issue. I would love DC to come out and say, our reorder numbers may not be hitting the top 300 every month, but we're getting consistent reorders. And I know, I've talked to them at DC. They have said they are getting consistent reorders on the older issues. They have almost everything is in stock right now through various printings. There's a few books that aren't, but most everything is available right now still. I guarantee you, stores that are paying attention are reordering these books more than people think.
Yeah.
Demon Knights. Let me see. Demon Knights, Frankenstein, Resurrection Man specifically. I haven't had to reorder too much, but my numbers, if you average that out, is putting it way over the 20,000 copy mark. If you average it out for the 2,000 stores in the 1,700, 2,000 stores in the country. So, I mean, we're already way above the average. So we're probably selling through proportionally. But I Vampire, I mean, I've bumped my numbers on now twice since that initial kind of dip, and now it's come back up, especially with the crossover. And I'd love to have them come out and say, yeah, we're actually selling an extra 1,000 copies a month of all of these books. They're maybe not enough to hit the sales charts, but that number that says it's 20,000 is actually 25,000, is actually 27,000.
Well, it's because, I mean, it's the thing is like, somebody comes in and asks us for our opinion on something, and they're like, no, I don't want that. You get something else. And yeah, we go down the list, Animal Man, Swamp Thing, but these are the titles that kind of will have that cult kind of following, or that, little specific niche, so to speak, in the comic book reader market. So if you can reorder them, that's great. I mean, because then it's a little bit easier to kind of expose people to them and say, hey, you should try this out. Because DC's been good about that even before the New 52 in having titles be able to be reordered and not necessarily it being a second print.
Sure.
So
one other thing to think about too is I think now in what we're going to go into the eighth month of the books. It seems to me like all those titles, like the crossovers you said with I Vampire, Justice League Dark, all the Bat books going into the Owls or the Court of Owls or whatever the name of that title is, I forget. With Swamp Thing and Animal Man with the Rot versus the Green, the payoff is now there for you. So if you stuck around, you get to really see how much of that synergy and energy is going on between the writers and all the creators. Maybe it's even reason to stick around for a few more books. But again, we know how it is. It's like 50-50. Some people just get tired of all the event crossovers, and others that really love it, they're really in it.
Well, I don't think DC's overplaying it too much. They kind of said, okay, each book is going to do something with another book, kind of just expose the just branch out a little bit. Voodoo had Green Lantern in it, and it's like you have all these little, like Flash was in it Captain Atom.
It seemed very specific that like 1 month the lower selling books had a highest selling character appear in them. Now we're getting some lower selling books paired up with a higher selling book for like a 1-issue crossover or 2-issue crossover. And that's a genius way to play it. It doesn't need to be every month. It shouldn't be every month.
No.
It doesn't need to be a bunch of books. But if you get, I Vampire, I'm now bumping up, 15-20% a month for the last couple months because of the crossover with like Justice League Dark, like we were saying earlier. There was another one. The Teen Titans and Superboy books are starting to sell a little bit better now. Teen Titans was higher than Superboy, but now because they're crossing over, those are going up. And I have a really strong hope for Ravagers coming up. I think a lot of people are looking forward to that. I'm almost 100% of my subscribers that have said they want Teen Titans said, yeah, I'll check out Ravagers. And that's a great number for...
Well, I'd like to check out Ravagers. I mean, I read Superboy and wasn't interested, and read Teen Titans and wasn't interested, but I'm still interested in Ravagers. So there's interest there on titles, whether it's... But yeah, you can... I might read Ravagers and it crosses over with Superboy and Teen Titans, and I might, I'll pick those up. Yeah. Check those out. So...
Brock, you want to read an email
hit him with an email? All right, let's see. This is from Caleb Reinhardt. He says, hey, I'm 21 years old. Congratulations.
Get drunk.
Get drunk. Get crunk. I will tell you this. It is always cracking up in this bitch. So, and he's actually new to comic collecting.
Good to know.
And actually comics in general. He says, I read random comic books when I was younger, but I don't know a whole lot about it. The first question I have is, how do I start collecting? Should I just buy random books to read, or should I try and find boxes of random comics or something? Secondly, what are your favorite arcs of recent time that I could go back and buy? This kind of ties in with your DC reorder. I don't know, for random stuff, I don't know, it's kind of like, it's one of those things where if you're randomly wanting to read something, then I would say go into a comic book store and stare at the wall. And whatever pops, whatever cover image pops and pulls your attention, pick it up and flip through it. If it's hold your interest through a flip, then pick it up. It's one of those things where it's difficult to gauge what people like if they don't really know what they're into. I mean, if you want superheroes, do you want, more, kind of true to life stuff?
Yeah.
Podcast listener and poster Trevor just walked right by. Fade to Black just walked by on his way to the gym. He gave us a little what's up. What's up, Trevor?
Trevor.
I mean, this is my answer to this is the same answer I've given multiple times before, and I'll continue to give it in the future. Very few people's first issue first comic book I ever read was the first comic in a series, the origin of a character, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Everyone jumped in the middle. Everyone's first book was X-Men 270, some random number. I mean, very few people consciously start at the beginning, and especially with the superhero stuff, it's impossible. You know what's going back and starting with Action Comics #1 and reading forward. Your best bet, like Brock said, go to a store, look on the wall, grab what looks cool. You may not know everything, but you're in the best time in the world to find out as much as you want. You go on Twitter, you go on Wikipedia, you go on the message boards. You're like, hey, I don't know anything about this character. It seems cool. What's the backstory? Where do I start? Where do I go? And people will tell you, within literally minutes, you'll be able to find all the answers. I'm reading comics in the 90s. I'm like, oh, who's this random character? You just scowl like the Marvel encyclopedia books,
DC's Who's Who.
The handbooks and the Who's Who, and you're digging through old back issues. Like, you don't have to worry about that now. You just go and look, and you find out everything you want to know about these characters.
Man, we had it rough when we were younger.
We did.
It was tough.
Pre-internet, man.
Yeah. We pretty much were just reading shit that we were either felt connected to. We already had like 20 issues in and we didn't really have the behavior pattern to quit something and just to pick up something new. And
well, when I was going through my books last week, I did the big sort and purge.
The Higgins purge.
Yeah, I mean, I still have a lot of those early books that I read. I purged a lot of them throughout the years, but I still have some of them. And it's like, I'm jumping in Doctor Strange 68. Like, all right. I go, why did I grab this? Like, of all the books, what caused me to grab this, and why did I not get 69? What was the deal with that? So
was it Night Nurse?
It might be, maybe.
Oh yeah.
So just random issues, you just never know. It's worth checking out, especially with Marvel and DC, because the books cross over and there's a long history to them. Same with the indie stuff, though. Image has been knocking it out of the park recently. They've just had hit after hit after hit. And a lot of these books are still available in new printings, or the trade paperbacks have just come out. And there's a point you can start with #1. You can start at the very beginning of these stories if you want to jump in. And yeah, I mean, if you like, the science fiction, horror, any of that kind of, non-superhero genre stuff, Image has a lot of that stuff. Valiant's restarting their universe pretty soon. So if you kind of want a different take on superheroes, there's that. Vertigo just had a huge launch of new titles, so you do have the option to jump in the starting point for a lot of these characters if you want to check them out. So,
and a lot of the things, some of these titles actually you can preview on Comixology through our Comixology storefront.
Yeah, you can get some of the things there. DC and Marvel still have a lot of just sample pages. You can actually go on Comic Book Resources and read the first 10 pages of probably every comic published every week, because they seem to have extended previews for every book these days. It's like half the friggin' issue.
Yeah.
So
that's where it is. So half of that torrent download is from CBR, and the rest is just somebody scanning the back end of the book. This is how they do it so quickly.
There was actually for a while there, they were able to get them directly from Marvel's FTP site.
Holy shit!
Some of them they had for a while. I think it was David Brothers and I can't remember the other guy. I can't remember what's other. I can't remember what site they run on.
I think Fourth Letter.
Fourth Letter. Yeah. But they reported about this, that they found a way into Marvel's back door, basically, and it was like, yep, we could get in here and get access to all the PDFs and access to all the image files. So here's how it's getting out, guys. And they leaked it there. They plugged it. They plugged the leak, but I'm sure it's still up there. And if anyone ever hacked Comixology, it's like it's free access to everything. So
yeah, I remember like also during, I don't know if this was intended or not, but during the New 52, all the art releases and cover art and everything else was just like blasted all over the net. We got to see all that stuff, and it came directly from the DC, the source blog.
Yeah,
I think it was Comics Alliance or a few others that leaked that.
Well, they had DC. If I'm thinking of the same thing, they just had a standardized naming scheme for all their pages.
That's what it was.
So it would be like JLA, or it'd be like JL_P2 for page 2 _001. Some very standardized naming scheme, and you could just like type it in, and boop, 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 they all pop up. So all you have to do is just put one little thing there. It's like block any direct access, but yeah, they didn't, and oops. So
no, it was great. I felt like, wow, this is really what the internet should be all about: just free access,
freedom,
and all this shit.
So yeah, but because I know that you can check out. I think Blue Estate is an Image comic that I've been wanting to check out, but I just haven't gotten around to it. I know that one's digitally for free for the first issue. Marvel and DC, I don't necessarily know if they have any frees.
They do. They have a lot of free first issues.
Yeah. So
yeah. Vertigo for a long time had every issue, the first issue free for like every single one of their ongoing titles that had trade paperbacks. I don't know if that's still the case, but
yeah. And what is the cost now for the electronic? I mean, I should know this from the last episode when we were talking about that stuff. It's like, what is it? $199, $299, or same price? Depends on
Marvel. Currently does not drop their price.
Okay.
I believe DC and Image, or DC does. I believe Image does. After 30 days, it drops $1.
Drops $1.
Yeah.
And then Comixology is constantly having 99-cent sales. So there's usually 2 or 3 a week. Okay. So they have a Joker one going on right now.
Yeah.
So you can get Dark Knight Returns 1 through 4 for $4.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Dark Horse has kind of followed that model too, because they do the same thing, at least during their celebration of certain brands, be it like BPRD, Star Wars, whatever. Yeah, they really push something hard, and everything is 99 cents for a certain amount of time.
Yeah, I think Dark Horse might drop theirs by $1 as well after 30 days, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah, but Dark Horse is still not part of the retailer.
Dark Horse and Marvel still aren't, and they've still got that Flash-based one, so all you guys can't get it. So it's happening. They said it's coming, so I'm just waiting. So keep on
dropping those tweets and hints.
Totally. I don't know if Marvel or Comixology care, but
if you want to support, say at Marvel, at Dark Horse, support the stores, follow DC and Image. At DC and Image.
I want to sell you comics. Omar, you got an email?
Yes, we do. This is from Brandon. What up, Brandon? I don't know why I got this question. Probably because the subject line says busts.
It was a funny question.
Why does anyone want a statue of just the head and shoulders of a character? Brandon, if you listen to the last 4 or 5 podcasts I've been in, I ask myself the same question every day. When I'm in the shower, do I just wash the top? Do I also watch the bottom? Yes. When we're walking down the street and we see some hot chick or dude, whatever your preference, do you just look at their eyes? Do you look below? To me, I think it's probably economies of scale. I'm looking around the store and I see a bunch of head to toe pieces that are beautiful, incredible, and then I look around the corner. Look around me, and I see the majority of the busts definitely are the ones that you're pointing out that are just.
No, and actually, I was going to correct him.
Oh,
as you see these,
yes, every
single bust we have in the store now is waist up, including the arms.
Okay,
when they started to do these busts, so for people who don't know, Bowen Designs specifically and DC Direct, they do a ton every month. There's tons of these full size statues being about $150, $200, sometimes more. About 8 to 10 inches tall, sometimes a little bit taller. And then the busts, which can run, 5 or 6 inches, maybe somewhere in that range. for a long time, the busts they were doing were just the standard, like
it was the
museum
chest,
style.
Yeah, it was the chest and the
chest and shoulders.
It was
with
no
the head.
arms, no nothing below the waist. It was just
Right. But
that used to, from what I remember from art history.
I mean, that's the way.
That's the way it was.
Right.
When you had somebody come in to do a sculpture of you, you had them just do your face and like your neck and just your chest area. Because the thing is I'm not going to sit here for all eternity while you carve out my arms and legs and all that stuff. Because you can put anything. I mean, you can take anybody's head and plop it on any body.
All right.
So taking just the bust was just to get the general core of the individual.
Yeah,
And
but
you
in
can
the
branch out from there.
But yeah, after a handful of years, though, they've changed. I think almost entirely to waist up, including the arms. So you get the waist, the chest, the arms, and the head on these characters and the busts. And as a result, the price has gone up pretty significantly on all of them because it is more work to do these. Some of these I don't have any that are like. I do have like this Thor one. I mean, you guys can't see it, but his arms combined are the size. His arms and hammer are the size of like the whole base and half his chest. I mean, it's huge. It's this huge statue for a bust, quote unquote. They're supposed to be smaller.
But the bigger ones that I was pointing out that are for the full body, those run almost like they can run like $100 to $200, right?
Oh, they're usually 150 plus 200. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple. They've started to release some like to scale with these statues, like Ghost Rider on the bike. It's like $500. There's like a Colossus that's like $325. I think that's coming out, or a Juggernaut. I'm sorry, this is just freaking huge thing. Must weigh like 15, 20 pounds.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I mean, the busts are real popular because they're a little cheaper and a little smaller.
Yeah.
And they tend to do more obscure figures in the bust style because, again, it is cheaper.
Sure.
So,
Yeah,
I know
and
DC did the Women in the DC Universe busts.
yeah.
all Adam
Which,
Hughes.
were based off, the Adam Hughes or...
No, the first line was Adam
line
Hughes.
was-
The second line was Amanda Connor.
Oh, okay. So, but those, I mean, there's a couple of those that were really, really nice. Like, I know I've constantly looked at the Jade one going, do I want it? I picked up the Starfire one.
Yeah.
But they also did busts for the Lantern characters.
Yeah, I mean, DC's quieted down a little bit on DC Direct on their statues
Yeah.
and busts. I think they may be kind of reorganizing the whole thing. But Bowen and now, what's the other company that used to do all the Star Wars? Gentle Giant is another big statue company, and they've started to do some Marvel ones, and they are badass looking. They rival. I think they may actually be maybe just because they're starting so late in the game on the Marvel ones, but I think they're as good, if not better, than most of the Bowen ones, and they're a little bit bigger size. So, and then if you go to Sideshow, Sideshow straight on has
nuts.
full on life size busts, and those have no arms. That's a more traditional bust style. Where it's the full-size museum, life-size, full head, chest. I know Toby's a big fan of his Black Cat bust, if you will.
Did he get that thing? Life size?
Hell yeah.
Life size.
He uses it for a pillow every night, so.
Oh, I was going to think he'd use it for something else. It's a bust.
But, yeah.
Sideshow begin.
But
Hurry.
Sideshow started to do life-size statues.
Yeah.
They have like was it a Darth Maul statue they have that's coming out? It's like
Yeah.
$7,000.
It's nuts.
Crazy.
And you know what? People buy that shit.
Oh, yeah. They have this...
No, not people. 1% buy that shit.
The 1%ers?
Yeah, the 1% of comic book readers who can actually afford that shit.
Hey man, if I had $7,000, I'd get a life-size Darth Maul to just like stick in the corner of the room, just like
Sure.
stand there judging me.
Just Darth Maul?
Yeah. I mean, in my
Oh,
garage.
sure, whatever.
You wouldn't get Nova or Speedball or
If they made I'll tell you what, if they made a life-size Speedball statue, I'd buy it. I'd buy that.
Nice.
what would you buy life size?
No, life size will already have my my TK armor inside my garage, just waiting for me, saying what's up, holding things down for it every day.
Do you
So
have that set up?
I have a mannequin
Oh, do
that
you
I was
really?
able to buy from a friend that
So-
went out of business in retail in San Francisco, and I pretty much just got the mannequin and put the armor
This
on.
is your Stormtrooper armor,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So-
and
so-
mannequin's like 6'3", so looks pretty legit.
Omar's, you're not a 501er.
I'm not a 501st. I'm like homeboys with a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And I just am kind of lazy when it comes to applications and any of those kind of process-oriented types of things. But, I've taken pictures with a bunch of them. There's a bunch of photos where I'm with them. I roll with a bunch of other non 501st also, just because they don't feel so impeded by rules and regulations where I have a Darth, I have a friend that's a Crimson Empire guy, and we all just like roll through Comic-Con every year and we just get fucked up and it's fun as hell, just like getting fucked up. Like,
so you're the Star Wars, you guys are acting out the Star Wars comic that we all want to see, which is the drinking stormtroopers.
Exactly, dude. Like I straight
doing all their shit, the Band of Brothers type of stormtrooper shit.
And this armor stuff, I mean, for most of you that may know, I mean, the shit is not comfortable. I mean, you can only customize it so much, but the plastic pieces go into your legs, go into shins.
You get the water cooling, man.
And especially after drinking, you can only it will allow you to stay in the armor longer, because usually it's maybe 2-3 hours, but after drinking, maybe like seven shots or something, I can be in that for like 6 hours. So it definitely lengthens it.
Have you passed out in it?
I have.
Yes,
I have.
Up top.
Now, did you throw up with the helmet on? That's a scare.
That's a no. That's a no. That'll fuck up all my equipment. That'll fuck up my speaker, my breathing apparatus, and all that stuff. I'm sorry, Brandon. Then going back to your bus question, I think again that you got a lot of great information from these guys. It all comes down to size. Do you want 4 to 6? Do you want 6 to 10? What can your space handle? Kegels, baby.
Jesus.
So another email on here. It's from Julian. Julian Titus. He's written us a few times before. He says, hello again, conspirators. It's a long email, but I'll get through it. I just wanted to chime in with my thoughts on the new 52.
Jesus Christ, I should just drink on this podcast. We should just have the drinking game on this podcast.
Why not?
Jeez.
The new 52.
Yes.
It brought me back into comics in a big way, and a lot of my favorite books were talked about on the show. Batman, Red Hood, Teen Titans, etc. But I want to give a shout out to The Flash. It's such a fun book and reminds me of the comics I read growing up. Francis Manapul does some amazing panel-to-panel work, and each issue has been a joy. I also like how some books like Batgirl are getting away from the 6-issue story arcs. Batgirl is already in her 3rd story in 7 issues, and I love it. And before I continue, I just want to say Flash, I want to love it more than I do. And I love Omar's shooting me the look. I love Francis Manapul. I think the art's really good, but when he switched and came back to DC, and when he started on The Flash, it may just be this kind of watercolor, maybe shooting from pencils and no inking, but I want the art to be a little tighter. I've noticed Marvel and DC have gotten away from inking on a lot of their books, and I don't have a book in front of me. I don't know what the inking situation is, but I feel like there's something missing from what he was doing before. It's a different style. I don't hate it. It's just different, and I don't think I like it as much as his earlier style. Now, if I'm not mistaken, you really like the Flash book. Am I correct in that?
No, I do.
Okay.
I do. And the reason for that, too, is just because after Jeff Johns came off the book, no different from what Jurgens did with Booster Gold, you still don't lose the pace. You still get the essence of the character down. I think Brian Buccellato, he's also done a great job in, obviously doing his research and working together with Manapul on, the book. It's a totally, again, a different feel and approach to the story, though. You have the essence again. You have the essence of who this guy is, of who Barry Allen is, and what the Speed Force is. I love that the Speed Force is totally different. He can use his mind now too. It's not just something physical.
That was something they actually did talk about at Emerald City. I guess he can't run the speed of light, so he's much slower than he was. This is more to like the Wally West post-Crisis, where he couldn't run. He could only run at the speed of sound or something, or maybe even slower than that. And then the Speed Force, they're like, we're just changing it up a little bit. It's not going to be the same thing as it was before. It seems a little more grounded and down to earth, and not so crazy, weird, and cosmic like it was in the pre-52.
Well, no, that cosmic treadmill is pretty bitching. But no, I think that I kind of see what he says about the Flash in the sense of, because I came into the Flash when it was that really, really bad Flash, that tail end before they redid it. And then when Francis came on...
Before they rejiggered it?
No, before. Before it was... Because they relaunched it before the New 52.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Because we had that one where it was Johns and him on it, and then he took over. And the one... I think what was jarring is that John's run was to set up Flashpoint, and then it's rejiggered. And now Manipul's taking over and doing the art and the story on this book. And yeah, some of his panel work is great, but I think that the problem with the book is you can tell the book either gets the panel treatment, where it's beautiful because of the panels, it's a great book because of the panels, or it gets a story treatment. So now that the story is driving it a little bit more, and I think it's a little jarring at times because he hasn't found the balance. Whereas someone with Batwoman, we have this great balance with, you know, the page spreads and then the story and everything flowing. Where I think Manipul's still coming into his own with it.
But I think I think I agree with you though. It's dope to see the experimentation process of him getting into different paneling styles, because he's talked on it in different panels about how he wants to do certain things differently, and it's kind of feels like that style. I forget what the style is called. It's like from France. You see those posters and it kind of like bleeds in. It's very J.H. Williams, obviously, very influenced by that. But
what you were saying, Ryan, is that the inking is that watercolor inking. I think a lot of us associate with kids' books in the sense of those lighter colors,
analogy. Yeah,
those lighter colors, those lighter tones. You know, so it's not as. So when a kid reads the book, it's more just read the little blur bubble, see the characters. This is just a fun little world. Whereas as comic book readers, we're used to that pop, that splash, and we don't get that from his inking style. It's all very kind of washed over. Like, honestly, I feel like it's snowing half the time in that book, just because it's so washed with, like, the colors toned down so much.
Yeah, when it comes to that art style, like, I'm bad. I don't know, like, all the technical terms, and I don't know who's inking or what the deal is or how it's being shot, if it's just being shot straight from pencils or straight from, you know, it's all digital. But, yeah, there's just, I don't know. Omar's grabbing it, I think, to confirm here. Something about it just, it's... Like I said, it's different. It's not bad. It's just different. I just think I like the old style more. While Omar is doing whatever Omar is doing, I do want to continue on here because he has something here which I haven't answered to. He says, Julian continues, I don't share the love for Green Lantern, though. Before you ban me from writing in, it's not going to do that.
You are banned, fool.
Let me explain. Before the movie, I read a ton of Green Lantern to get caught up. I made it all the way to Blackest Night. So did he stop when the movie came out because the movie ruined his love of the comics?
I could see that.
That happened to a lot of people.
When the New 52 came along, I expected to know what was going on with Green Lantern, but when I read issue number 1, I was totally lost. I don't know why Sinestro is a Green Lantern again. I don't care why... Or I don't know why Hal was kicked out of the Corps. There's been almost no explanation for new readers, and by issue 6, I just didn't care anymore. It's one of the books I'm dropping, and that makes me sad because I loved everything I had read up till now.
Mistake.
Well, it's because you stopped after Blackest Night. You need to read the Brightest Day stuff. You need to read War of the Green Lanterns. You need to read the Aftermath stuff, and then that gets you right up to current day. Like, don't skip that stuff. It's just as good as everything that was before it. And
Blackest Night, Sinestro Corps. You got to read all that shit.
Well, he did. He read up till Blackest Night.
Oh, okay.
And so he didn't read past Blackest Night.
So he just hasn't read Brightest Day or War.
So read the Green Lantern.
I would you would need to read the Brightest Day stuff, and you need to read the War of the Green Lantern.
Yeah, it's only like 2 or 3 trades. I mean, you can get if you don't count the Brightest Day itself, it'd be the Green Lantern,
Brightest Day,
and then War of the Green Lanterns.
War of the Green Lanterns.
I mean, that's it. So read those, and you'll be caught up on what happened to Hal and
but I
Sinestro.
can kind of understand his dislike of the Green Lantern book now, especially with the New 52 style. Is that it was one of those books that it didn't really change. So that was like the Bat books. We didn't really get the change.
Well, it's funny. I think I've talked about Green Lantern extremely little on this going forward.
Yes.
From New 52 and on. And it's not that it's bad. It's just, to me, it's as good as it's ever been.
I think,
and I love it, and it's still really good. But it's not. If you've read Green Lantern, you know what you're getting into. So it's not like Batman, where I think it's taking this huge jump forward. It's not like Animal Man or Swamp Thing, where it's a huge jump forward. It's not a complete failure like Hawk and Dove or OMAC or something like that. Which, I mean, I love OMAC, but I mean, Green Lantern, kind of like Justice League, is as good as I was expecting, and therefore I don't talk about it that often.
I think what it is we talked a lot about the event fatigue with Green Lantern, where you start.
It was all you, boss, not me.
Well, I know there was some people had it. I mean, you're a different story. It's John's. It's a boner in your pants. You read it, you jizz. But for a lot of people, it was just this event after event after event after event. Where
I thought War of the Green Lanterns was badass.
but it's event after event after event.
Okay,
you know, people wanted to kind of see what they got from Green, you know, what you get in Green Lantern Corps, which is
the last time. Well, here's the thing, though. Here's what's funny. The last time Green Lantern took a breather, right, was during Secret Origin, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, you go from Sinestro Corps to this? Like, why not just keep it going?" And
that was a breather, though. I thought that was fucking awesome. I mean, that really got me more into Sinestro. Really,
but it was a breather in the fact that it wasn't high octane, current, big ass cross, you know,
but
big event story.
But it was also Secret Origin. It was also kind of the retelling of the origin story, which we all wanted to see what his view was. So it wasn't necessarily event to event to event, and that was a break that was kind of it's an event because it's the origin, but it's not really an event because we're slowing it down because it's the origin, so we're starting it over. I think it's, you know, with what's going on now, I mean, what have we really gotten so far? It's Hal's, spoiler alerts, Hal is grounded. He doesn't have a ring. Sinestro comes, makes him a ring, but he can control the ring. So Hal's not in control of the ring anymore. So it's kind of now Hal's just following Sinestro around, you know, and we don't have that kind of big, huge, you know, cosmic kind of feel to the book anymore where it's like, oh shit, Cyborg Superman has like 50 bajillion rings and he's going to fucking destroy a bunch of people. You know, we don't have this, you know, I don't see that big splash page with a shit ton of Green Lanterns or Blue Lanterns or whatever battling it out that I would, you know, that I got from Blackest Night, Brightest Day.
Sure.
So I can understand his kind of going from the event to seeing this. This is a slowdown versus Secret Origin as a slowdown.
I think also too, it really goes back to how heavily invested you are in a character, a writer, an artist, and the story. You know, I think for Ryan and I, we're on the same boat. It has not lost a step. You know, we're seeing a different story from Johns. I mean, I think a lot of people too are creating parallels. You know, when it comes to Jeff Johns, they're saying he's like our modern day, like Chris Claremont. I think he's better than that. But if you're an X-Men fan, you know, you had over almost like 10 over, I don't know how many years of a writer sticking to a story, similar to Peter David on Hulk. And you get to see an X Factor.
Notice how we're comparing like Peter David and we're comparing Chris Claremont and not Brian Michael Bendis. But
exactly.
Sorry, I had to make that jab.
But no, to see the actual payoff of a character, you know, wow. You know, it doesn't matter. I think Charlie said last time, Hulk. Why did I say Hulk again? Hal Jordan doesn't need a ring. He's always powered. Yeah, right. You see that will, why he was selected, why Sinestro keeps going back to him and putting a power ring on him because he knows he's a key to whatever he needs to get done. It can't be done by Sinestro himself.
Well, and this is the other thing is I mean, I can see this a little bit from a writer standpoint in that, I mean, Johns is writing Green Lantern, he's writing Aquaman, he's writing Justice League. You have 3 huge titles that you're working on, and you have to make each and every one pop. And the thing is each and every one pops at its own different time. Like, Green Lantern hasn't really popped yet. Although I fucking loved Black Hand coming in, I'm like, ooh, what's going to happen? You know, I'm excited because he's giving us the Johns buildup, but we're not getting that kind of big epicness. But in Aquaman, he's hitting it out of the park with what's going on, all this, you know, it's entertaining. Mara fucking flips a lid in the last issue. In this issue, we're setting up a new story. You know, Justice League, you know, it's great overall. I mean, I went back and reread it all. It works. It's awesome. So it's one of those things where Johns is, I think it's, when writers start to get spread over X amount of titles, you start to see where they lose it in other things. So, I mean, even with, like, Scott Snyder, in the sense of, like, he's writing Swamp Thing, American Vampire, and he's writing Batman. So he's on 3 different books, but they're 3 different styles of books. Sure. So it's like Batman is the superhero book, Swamp Thing is that Vertigo-esque title.
But it's like very macabre. It's like macabre superhero, very dark.
American Vampire is, you know, the Vertigo title, so to speak, but it's about vampires. So it's like they're different kind of things so you can separate. Whereas Green Lantern and Aquaman are on the fucking Justice League.
Yeah.
So Johns is writing a bunch of superheroes, and you saw this. We've seen this with Brian Michael Bendis writing all that stuff over with the Avengers and crossing over and doing all of these different titles at the same time. The quality of the book diminishes.
Sure.
So I think that's something. But again, getting back to Green Lantern, it hasn't popped.
See, for me, I disagree completely because now we're really going to find out what's up with the Indigo Tribe.
Well,
what's up with all these
because
people
you're
that are
vested.
in jail? What's up with all these people that are kind of like lanterns, but they have all off shady pasts, and they want to kind of like rehab. Sinestro now, and then again, like you said, ooh, Black Hand is here. Ooh, yay, we get to see him. What's going
We'll
on?
see what happens because after Blackest Night, we saw where he went, but we didn't see what's going to happen with that. So, but when you're vested,
Sure.
and you're going into it, it's fine. But when you're somebody that's they jump in and then they stop reading because they're like, okay, it's new, it's something I don't need to read the old stuff. You needed to read the old stuff, and
Sure,
I think that
sure.
might be why.
No, totally.
Because if you vest to only Blackest Night, yeah, you're going to lose out on a lot of that stuff, and especially if you're not reading Green Lantern Corps at the same time.
Yeah, definitely Green Lantern Corps. Just one little side piece connecting to Green Lantern. Yeah, I have to say, because Green Lantern Corps is so good, still being handled by Tomasi, and of course Green Lantern by Johns. The other books, I think, are dwindling. And for me, I'm almost feeling like... And dude, Bedard is my man. I followed that guy at Rebels. I followed him in, I don't know how many other books, but it just is lacking. I'm about to jump off that shit.
Which one?
New Guardians.
I'm still liking New Guardians, and I'm still liking. I'm actually liking Red Lanterns a lot.
It's gotten better, for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. I think they all give us a different story. I think that's why I like it. Because Green Lantern, you could do so much with these characters because there's so many of them.
I think that's mainly why I'm not necessarily for me personally the Green Lantern epic thing. Yeah, I'd like to see the downtime that we is talked about before. But I think I got that when I was reading Green Lantern Corps. Was I got to see different characters and they actually take a break at times and there's a little bit more character interaction and character development in that book versus the main Green Lantern book. So. And they crossed over just enough to kind of, give you this sense of, okay, all right, but yeah, I don't know. It's hard to stay vested with a book when, it's not giving you the same satisfaction it was giving you before.
Yeah.
A lot of people, like you said, we're at the age now where we can quit something. So, sure. But we don't want to quit it. You always get people apologizing all the time, Ryan. I'm sorry I'm dropping this book.
I'm one of them.
So it's, and people don't want to drop something that they've enjoyed because,
sure,
you want to keep it going. You want to support it. But if it's not giving you, what you need, then you got to leave, right? Isn't that what we tell women all the time with, shitty relationships with men?
Yeah, no, it's usually me. No, it's me. It's not you, it's me.
It's me. It's not you, it's me. It's not you, it's Green Lantern. Go.
There you go. Well, let's talk some random comic picks of the week here. What do we got?
That's it? We're not going to do the rating?
What's that?
We're not doing the iTunes rating?
No, I'll do that.
Oh, we'll do that later?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll start.
You got one?
Gilliam March. Sorry, I might even be stealing your random pick of the week, but we can both talk about that shit.
Wow.
Cover Girls.
It's a new hardcover.
Yeah, the hardcover came out, and it's a lot of unpublished, well, not unpublished, but work that has not been distributed, in the U.S., straight from Playboy Spain, straight from a bunch of other books and works that he did. But you get to really see the evolution of Gilliam March, where, it's incredible. If I didn't look at this book, I would never have thought he was so influenced by a lot of anime. I could see a lot of Ninja Scroll. I could see a lot of other types of things. The way that in Japan, in animation, the women are drawn really long, and their faces are long.
Yeah.
But it of course evolves, and you see where he is now with Gotham City Sirens, and of course Catwoman. Yeah. There's a few images too where you can see connections. It shows Poison Ivy, but it doesn't obviously say the work because it's not a DC book; it's an Image book. But you could see how drawing a certain character has kind of come into drawing every regular day, everyday figures and pieces. Gilliam March is without a doubt, easily my favorite artist out right now, just because of seeing his evolution from where he started. Ethan Van Syver, you're out there, boy. We're friends on Facebook. You're my boy. But yeah, no, this cat Gilliam March, he has evolved so much. Gotta check the book out. It's the best $25 piece of coffee. Was a coffee table piece that you can have in your house. Everyone picks it up when they come into my house and they're checking out, just hanging out.
Yeah, when he first started on Gotham City Sirens, what had he done prior to that, comic wise? Nothing here, right? That was the beginning.
Power Girl covers.
Did you do some covers? Okay.
He's
just
done,
freaking amazing stuff. And yeah, on the
One shots here
Catwoman.
and there of Batman, but
Yeah, and onto Catwoman too, just really good. One of the things I like about Gilliam March, he's not afraid of having characters really fill out a frame,
Sure.
if that makes sense.
no, totally.
A lot of people will draw like kind of they're in the background and sort of like you get these small panels with like long shots of a character. He'll like some of these shots of Catwoman, he'll have her like taking up a large portion of the frame, but you see it's just a really cool style that I don't see a lot now.
Well, it's his art style. I mean, can cross over from being extremely sexy and very, very provocative to very, I mean, just influenced with rage and hate and anger and fear. And I mean, just in Catwoman with the scenes where she's beaten up, it's just brutal. And then just the range of emotion that goes through the character's face. And what you're talking about with the close up, there's one panel that my girlfriend says, I feel like that, where she's all cuddled up in a ball after, I think it was issue 3.
Yeah,
3 or 4.
Her buddy got
whacked.
Yeah.
And she's like,
What's happening to your girlfriend that she feels that way, Brock?
Well, no, it's not necessarily me, jackass.
So, it's funny because I like Michael Turner. I like his art style. I think he does great stuff. I is very fitting, especially in the comic industry. I mean, the stuff he does works a lot. But it's one of those things where I remember when he did that Supergirl arc and Superman Batman, they had Big Barda was in it. And Big Barda is a big character, hence the name Big Barda. Sure. I don't mean big, like tall, although she is. She's a large woman.
She's
like Super Xena.
She is upper body strength,
but
boobs and torso and big legs.
But he drew her like a stick figure that was strong. And like Gilliam March is one of those where he could do sexy, like Brock says, but he can do ugly too, which I think is harder.
Yeah,
because it's easy to do kind of this generic sexy comic thing, but he did.
Her fence was a plump woman, who still had appeal of she's a woman and there is an attractiveness to this woman even though she's plump. But he didn't blow it out of proportion where it was like
she wasn't ugly and hideous.
Yeah, she wasn't ugly and hideous,
right.
But it wasn't. She was a drop dead gorgeous fat chick either.
Right. But he can do ugly too. I mean, he does ugly. He could do ugly with the men. He could do beautiful with the women. But he can mix and match it too. So I mean, it's you don't see artists do that a lot where they can really mix up their styles. So
yeah,
for sure. No, and one little last thing. Give him props on that. The atmospheres again. That's where he's elevated. I mean, you can look inside of for those of you that have not been at say like a gentleman's club, totally's got it down packed where it feels slimy, but at the same time sleek and sexy with the lighting and the colors too. But I mean, you could see black and white how he's created that imagery. Fucking fabulous.
Yeah, Brock's pulling out the Big Barda shot. I don't know. I guess she looks a little bit bigger. She looks a little bit
bigger, but I can. It's over here.
Yeah, he did it with the white space, though. But he didn't do it. He did it with the white space and took everything out of it.
But if Supergirl's 98 pounds wet in that shot, or Wonder Woman's 98 pounds wet in that shot, because she looks tiny in that shot comparatively. Because Wonder Woman again is a buff chick. Then she's 115 pounds, and she's probably 300 pounds.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
she's like 8 feet tall. She's huge.
Yeah, she's supposed to be big.
Yeah.
No, but you actually didn't steal my pick. You stole my son's pick. Okay. Because when I brought him in the store, that's when we walked around. He's like, was reaching for the Gilliam March coffee table book. So I was like,
the seed is strong.
Oh, I know. He likes boobies.
Brock, you got a pick. Or you want me to
go? You can go ahead and go. I'll pick something in a second.
I got one here. Recently, Jonathan Hickman finished up his multi-year run. Well, not finished up. This is sort of the end of the real run. He's ending later this year on Fantastic Four.
Yes.
It's coming up, I think October is his last issue.
I think that's right.
But this is sort of issue 604 came out not too long ago, a couple of weeks back, and this is the end of his big story that he did from the very start. And I've never been a big Fantastic Four fan. I've read the books. I thought they're an okay team. I've followed them since. I mean, I've probably read every issue since I got into comics that's been published, but it just never really did much for me. I mean, there were cool times like when the new Fantastic Four, like Wolverine and Ghost Rider. That's fun, and obviously all the Jim Lee did the FF. Did Jim Lee do FF?
For the Heroes.
The Heroes Were Born?
Yeah.
Did he?
Jim Lee did it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it was replaced by Booth.
Yeah, and then when they relaunched, I mean, so there have been good parts, and obviously Mark Waid did a fantastic run on FF a handful of years ago, but Jonathan Hickman has done something very special with these characters over the last couple of years, and this is the very end of the run, and I would say I would have liked to have seen this issue expanded out a little bit more because there's a lot of stuff that goes on in this last issue, but I'm very content, and it wraps up. It basically ends where it begins, just in a different format. And if you have any interest in the Fantastic Four, I think there's 4 books of Fantastic Four by Hickman. There's going to be 2 FF trade paperbacks, and then there should be 1 more Fantastic Four trade paperback that wraps it up. So I think it's 7 books total. I would highly recommend this stuff. We have a council of Reed Richards from alternate realities. We have the return of Doctor Doom as a total badass. We have the death and return and death of Galactus.
Yep.
Franklin Richards' future self come back to kick some ass. The whole what's his face, Black Bolt's return. There have been some fantastic, no pun intended, stuff in this book, and I was really happy with this last issue.
I'm sorry, gotta jump in. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
For the next 30 seconds, if you haven't read the last 2 episodes or read
the last 2 issues.
yeah. Well, for those of us that have read comics, we have crazy imaginations, right?
Yeah.
Because we see that shit almost cinematography. It's just like we look at the panel, but we can imagine it in our minds.
I have a feeling I know what you're going to say.
Oh my god! Holy fuck! Okay, so spoiler alert again. So to see the future self of Nathan, like we can kind of imagine like how fucking powerful this motherfucker.
Yeah.
Galactus is my herald.
Frankly.
What the fuck?
To me, my Galactus may be the 4 greatest lines spoken in a Marvel comic in the last decade. Franklin Richards is now the power cosmic, and he has summoned Galactus as his herald.
Holy shit!
Yeah, I really don't want to spoil it.
No, that's like
but
the best.
I don't know how you can't.
You can't.
It is, and this goes back to the very beginning of the story. You see you see Galactus is dead, and everyone's like, "But Galactus is alive. What's this dead Galactus?" It's like, oh, now we know, and that it is pretty friggin' intense. And Franklin Richards as basically, well, so for those that don't know the Galactus, he's the big purple guy in the FF.
He's the cloud
Marvel.
in the second film.
Yeah, ignore that. He is the last living being from the previous universe that has kind of transversed over to the new one. He's become this great cosmic power.
He's from Marvel 615?
Our universe before it was born, before the Big Bang. He was the only being that survived the transition.
Survived the Big Bang?
Yeah.
Is that just a theory?
Yeah. I would love if they set up that when this universe ends, that Franklin Richards is the last to survive and carries over to a new universe.
That would be nuts.
That would be freaking crazy.
I just love that Hickman, again, I'm always on this motherfucker's nuts.
Yeah.
But just what he's done with the payoff. Because, even if you read S.H.I.E.L.D., you can see the connections between it with, the future.
Yeah.
You get the future and the past. He's all about history.
Yeah.
And just weaving that shit all together.
There was maybe a little bit where I was sort of losing direction. I haven't really cared for the last handful of issues of FF.
Yeah.
But I think that's a little bit more. I've been really hard on the art.
Yeah.
I have not enjoyed the art
style.
style.
Well, it sucks whenever they put Greg Ticini on that book because that guy sucks ass.
Yeah, and Babilo
and I think Kitson, they try to bring us back to the whole style of not Romita, the original Romita, and then also Ditko. They make the faces a little more square.
Well, I think it's not necessarily that these are horrible artists in the sense.
No.
I think that this is not a title for these artists.
They're super stylized and just not in a way that I think works with the title.
But I haven't read.
You're selling me a Power Pack comic.
Yeah,
a Power Pack comic, and that's a hard sell anyway.
Sure.
And with the art style, mixed with the subject matter, I think that's where I start to have an issue. Because when you have Valerie Richards, little kid, commanding Dr. Doom and the Celestials, You want some powerful art.
For sure.
And the art comes off not appropriate for the subject.
And this is what I really wanted to say.
Okay.
Because I connected with you, I jumped on the whole Galactus thing.
Yeah.
But again, spoiler alert: the payoff for Doom. Doom is not dead. Doom will not die.
Yeah, yeah.
Valeria gave him a gift. It's not 1, but 2 Infinity Gauntlets.
Yeah, yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, yeah.
That is like some big ass shit right there. That's like big balls.
That was an FF, right?
Yeah, that was
okay,
an FF.
right,
I was like,
See,
damn.
I couldn't read Hickman. Like, I tried reading Hickman at the beginning after Mark Millar's run on it, which I thought Mark Millar's started strong, which he normally does.
yeah, but then
it went
He's-
like complete to utter shit.
I think his writing style, you got to connect with it. I would highly recommend, if you're going to read Hickman, read some of his Image shit. Read Nightly News, read...
I'm reading-
I hate to make the
Transhuman.
comparison, but the comparison I'm going to make is to Grant Morrison, and Brock's just not going to get into it.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I see
no,
so
I
many
can see that.
comparisons.
Yeah, that's
Well,
true.
that's the thing is like I enjoyed reading when he was on. I enjoyed reading the stories with like the multiple Reed Richards and stuff like that. But what I didn't like was the ends of the books had summary pages.
They get rid of that after the first few issues.
Okay,
Just
because I
deal with it.
couldn't. That's the thing is like I'm reading this story that I'm really engaged in, and yet it with those extra pages, I was like, eh.
I actually really like that, and I understand why they did it because it would basically double the length of the book. But
exactly.
but
It's similar. Is very
they end it
similar to
fast.
what Johns did with the Book of the Black on
Yeah.
end of
Yep.
for Blackest Night.
Yep.
So
It's just backstory.
Yeah,
It
that's all it is.
gives you wrap up for some of the story. Arc.
Yeah, I think that was my biggest thing. Is I didn't mind the Book of Black aspect where this is
Yeah.
backstory extra. It was the wrap up. It's like I don't need a wrap up at the end of a book. It's the beginning of the book that you're supposed to catch me up.
Sure.
And
I
then
can- I can- I
continue.
can hear what you're
So-
saying. I think really the big reason why Ryan picked this book is because Hickman incorporates Herbie into the book somehow.
Herbie,
Who doesn't love Herbie?
the car or the robot?
The robot.
Oh, jeez.
All right, Brock, what's you got to pick? What's your pick?
I'm gonna go with All Star Western this week.
Nice.
Hey,
Just the most
because-
recent issue, or just
I
general?
would in general.
Yeah.
Just
Really good
because
book.
reading that first story arc was amazing. Reading the second story arc was amazing. And now they're bringing in Nightwing and Cinnamon, which is really, really cool. And the book is just fun. It gives you this nice Jonah Hex story, and then you get this nice little kind of backup story in the same universe. So, like this current one is leading into crossing over with the
Court of Owls.
Night of
Yeah,
Owls,
Night of Owls. There you go.
in Sea of Owls. I don't know.
I'll be reading some All Star Western because of that. Because I mean, I've been so interested. You are one of my friends that talks about All Star Western. Everyone's saying like All Star Western has to be a book that sticks around. I just love that in some shape or form it can also be seen the connection in history to
And that's the thing is, it's
Grant Morrison,
nice to
Batman
see-
of going through history and still having him there, even though it's not being explicitly said. You still have that connection with.
Well, I
Gotham.
think that they recently, and I don't remember. I have to go back and check once the trades come out. But I think they actually have. There's a panel in All Star Western where you see the train at Gotham, and then there's an actual panel in one of the current Batman books that's the same
fucking
panel,
scene. Yeah.
but
I saw that.
modernized. So, what you're saying, the history is there. Like you're reading about Jonah Hex, but the rest of the world is kind of giving you this. Hey, this is the past.
Well,
much
like a Nightwing #7, which I think once people realize that just continues from Batman #7,
Yes.
and people start to pick it up because that book's going to start selling off fast once people, I think, kind of realize how important that book is. I could see All Star Western people going back and picking up the whole run because it's like,
totally.
holy shit, this totally ties in with Batman, and really, really good stuff. Moriarty, I don't know how to pronounce the guy's name. I believe it's just a single name, Moriarty, like Moriarty, but Moriarty. Fantastic artist, really good stuff, really dirty, but real cool, cool art style. It totally fits.
It fits Jonah Hex.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is like you're talking about with FF, where the artists that they had on FF don't fit the book, and when you have art that doesn't fit a book or a story, it can ruin the whole thing.
Totally.
So I mean, we've seen it and that's the sad thing is you see it a lot on books, but at least like I don't know, you guys, everyone seemed to be okay with the Justice League artwork change for this issue.
Yeah, Gene Hall's fine.
Yeah, Gene Ha's good. He's a great artist.
I don't know. But yeah, All Star Western, amazing. Since you can hopefully get the back issues reordered, head down to your local shop and ask them to reorder it, or
Yeah.
get it on digitally.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna go ahead and call that an episode.
Really? You're not going to do the
That's an
review
episode.
that you said you're going to do after this?
What review? Oh yeah, no, we don't. Yeah. Well, no. This is part of what we're gonna do from the end of the episode. So this has been an episode of the Comic Conspiracy podcast. Hope everyone had fun. We would love people to go on iTunes and give us some reviews, and if you do, we will read your review on the podcast, especially if it's a nice 5-star review, like this one from Sissy. Scissy. This is have my
sissy.
I assume this is a man named Sissy because the subject line is "Have my baby Ryan Higgins." So I assume this is a man. Seriously, best comic book podcast out there, bar none. Thank you very much. That's very nice.
Somebody wants to have your baby?
No one wants to have my baby. Trust me.
Jesus.
We would love more 5-star reviews like that. So go on iTunes and review us. The more you review us, the higher we are in the search engine when people search for comic book podcasts, and more people will listen to this episode or this podcast, which is fantastic. And if you want to listen to more of this podcast, for whatever reason, you can go to www.geekbox.net, where you can find this episode, all our other episodes, as well as the Comic Conspiracy podcast. I'm sorry, it's the Geekbox podcast. There you go. We're the Comic Conspiracy podcast.
Hammered.
I'm
after
hammered.
every episode.
You can also find the Comedy Button podcast,
He got chocolate wasted.
which just recently had their I'm fat on Rolos. I'm drunk off Rolos right now.
Rolling in
which
the
had their
chocolate pudding.
Their April Fool's GFW Brodeo reunion episode. So you should go listen to that, as well as Good Job Brain, which is our new trivia podcast run by Karen Shute,
What up, Karen?
who recently got mugged. So
Yeah, good mug.
510 represents.
So
I know,
if anyone tracks her phone down,
it's Omar's hometown, baby. Nah, you know.
This weekend it was.
Yeah. Good job, Oakland. Good job, Oakland. That could be the new podcast.
Yeah, definitely.
good job, Oakland.
Yeah.
That city is going to blow itself up.
Oh, yeah. Someone will blow it up. It'll be like no man's land out there.
Well, if the sports teams leave,
Yeah.
Later.
What else we got? Send us some emails. We said earlier, the Comic Conspiracy, geekbox.net, or you can go on the contact forum there and contact us. Also go on forums at geekbox.net, post in the comic forum, say what's up, tell us what you read. That'd be fun. Go to comicsconspiracy.biz. That's a website for the store. And you can see our random picks, or you can see our weekly picks for all our new release picks. You go on Conspirator Brock,
conspiratorrock.com.
That's Brock's blog. You can go to Comics Into Kind. It's Omar's site.
So what?
You can follow us on Twitter. Ryan Higgins Ryan.
Brock
Sager. Comics Into Kind. Toby's Toby XI. Charlie is Insanity and Chaos. They'll be both back next week with some stuff. You can listen to Charlie's other podcast, the Infinite Long Box. That's on iTunes and all that stuff, so you can get that.
Yeah.
You can definitely tell this is raw, because if this is off a teleprompter, you fucking suck.
I can't read, so a teleprompter wouldn't help me. You can go
True, it didn't
digital.comicsconspiracy.
even help Bush.
Digital.comicsconspiracy.biz. You can buy some digital comics there. That's fun. Yell at Marvel and Dark Horse and tell them to get on their ass.
Yes,
or get
please.
off their ass and get on the retailer website.
That's what we need. Is we need the consumers need to say we want. You need to do this. We want this.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, they don't listen.
And graphically step it up, baby. Comixology's owning that shit right now.
Yeah, it's not even a contest.
I have a question. Is anyone going to download Marvel's app to read their books? Isn't Marvel have their app to read their Marvel books?
It's just Comixology.
Yeah.
It's just a Marvel Comixology app.
What is that? Just give me a
I think
skin.
they're repackaging it. Speaking of repackaging, I love how you talked about a golden shower in a comics podcast.
What?
Golden shower.
And speaking of golden showers,
What? When did I talk
we're
about
also
that
going
again?
to have our amazing, fantastic, wonderful Avengers vs. X-Men release party Tuesday, April 3rd,
It's not a release
6
party for Avengers versus X-Men.
6 p.m.
We're throwing it down for your birthday.
Ryan's birthday.
It's for Avengers vs. X-Men #1 release party at Comics Conspiracy 115-A East Fremont Avenue, Sunnyvale, California 94087.
Yeah, but what if they can't come out?
You can't do anything then. You have to come here. from 6 to 8 p.m. We're going to have free food, free drinks, free cupcakes, which are going to be awesome. One of Toby's buddies is making those. We're at 25% off all Avengers and X-Men related items in the store. And any purchase during that time gets you a free copy of Avengers vs. X-Men #1 at 8 p.m. And then at 8 p.m. we'll sell that book, variants, all the rest of the stuff. So if you just want the book, you can come get it. But if you want to take part in our sale, you can get some stuff too. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And basically, any Avengers and X-Men related book ends up becoming any Marvel comic because they're all related back to the X-Men or Avengers in one way or another.
There's no 6 degrees of separation in the Avengers or X-Men. It's like half degree of separation.
Yeah, everyone belongs to one team or another at some point.
I mean, Black Cat has had sex with what? How many people?
If you can make a connection from so here's the thing, because of Marvel because of DC versus Marvel and because of Avengers for JLA, we're not allowing like that connection. But if you can tell us the connection of a Marvel character to the Avengers or the X-Men, it's 25% off.
Okay, so let's give them an example.
Let's hear them.
Let's give them an example.
What do you want?
How is Speedball tied to the Avengers?
Speedball's part of the New Warriors, and half the New Warriors were Avengers.
There you go.
There you go. Boom.
That's your example. Also, Comics in a Kind is running a little contest in celebration of Ryan's birthday. Whoever comes in with the best example of his haircut, like Flock of Seagulls, can write a special guest entry on Comics in a Kind.
I wish I had Flock of Seagulls hair. That'd be awesome.
I want us to do something for our listeners. Our listeners that aren't here, that can't get here, that support us.
Okay.
We should be able to do something for them.
We'll do this too. Okay, so anybody that jumps on the forums and puts a picture of themselves with their imitation of Ryan's Flocks of Seagulls haircut, then...
Do I have like Flock of Seagulls hair right now or something? Do I?
Some days
it's kind of high.
Do I?
So if it's one side is down and the
take a picture of yourself.
Take a picture, but...
Boom. And we'll pick the best. And I will give you access to my blog to write a special guest entry.
Or... if you do it yourself, or if you Photoshop Flock of Seagulls hair on a picture of Ryan Higgins, so we can see different styles.
I don't like any of
that
these.
too.
Okay, well, you guys figure that out.
It's celebrating Ryan.
You got to start the forum thread then.
Done.
And we'll be back next week with all sorts of crap from Toby and Charlie and about Emerald City Comic Con. So that should be fun.
City Comic Con.
As well as our post. And we should have our Avengers vs. X-Men 0 and 1 talk. So look forward to that.
Hey.
That's not an April Fool's joke either.
Okay, Brock. Enough of that.
It was good to see Frank Cho's artwork, though. Anyways.
Yeah. Number 0. Yeah. All right.
The vagina cover?
Yeah.
Okay, enough of that. We'll
What?
talk,
You don't like vagina covers?
we'll talk to you guys.
Oh, no, that's right. You like vagina back covers.
I don't know what you're talking about. Stop talking. We'll talk to you next week.
Peace.